Now we are going to have a panel discussion upon networking and building community. So today we have with us Dr. Ranjini Raghunath, Dr. Gayatri Dhadeech and Dr. Ranjini Bandyopadhyay. Interestingly, the panelists are from very distinct profiles. So coming to Dr. Ranjini.
Can I talk like this? Sorry. It's on.
Dr. Ranjini Raghunath. So, she is a communication officer at IISc, where she produces and edit content for press release, research newsletters, Connect magazine articles, IISc website, and strategic presentation. She also handles IISc social media accounts. In her previous role as developer officer at IISc, she helped coordinate several major funding efforts and also handled corporate and alumni relations. Before joining IISc, she wrote news stories for Stanford University School of Medicine. Coming to Dr. Gayatri Dhadeech, she is currently the Chief Technology Officer (CTO) in Excite Industries Limited. She is highly motivated and enthusiastic battery leader, innovator with over 100 plus US patents and 20 years of visionary R&D experience in electrochemical storage and conversion devices. Articulate communication, technical leader skill in motivating and mobilizing teams towards aggressive research and performance metrics in battery development, covering the entire materials development in battery system, especially in lithium-ion battery. She is currently working in vehicle electrification for last 10 years and had worked in fuel cells for over 10 years. Dr. Ranjini Bandyopadhyay is currently working as a professor in Raman Research Institute. She mainly uses static and dynamic light scattering, ultrasound attenuated spectroscopy, and stress control geometry to study the structure dynamic rheology and of non-Newtonian fluids and soft glassy materials. So without wasting much time, I welcome all of them on the stage.
Okay, let me start because I have to run. Okay. 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'd like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I don't exactly do optics or photonics, except that like she might have mentioned, I use relay scattering to look at the structure and dynamics of soft materials. Okay, but this has been a fantastic conference so far, and thanks to the organizers. I'll just start with a very nice quotation that I picked up from the internet. Your network is your net worth. Okay, and we fare badly when we are isolated. We thrive in a community. And when I got this 17 years ago, in any conference I'd go to, usually on soft matter, I'd be the only woman there. Okay, so after dinner, the boys would go out for a drink, and I didn't really feel like that. I had a small child, I had to go back, so all those things were there. I was isolated. So now it's so heartening to see that, just optics and photonics has this kind of a critical number. When I came back, there were really 2 people who were working on soft matter experiments in India. By soft matter, I don't mean liquid crystals. We always had a fantastic liquid crystal department. I mean, things like colloidal suspensions, which I work on. Now we have a conference with parallel sessions. Okay, so lots of people and lots of women is fantastic. Like I told you, your network is your net worth. It's empowering, it's empowering for me to be able to talk to so many of you. It's something I couldn't have dreamt even maybe 10 or 12 years ago. Okay, it ends your isolation, which is something that I have sorely felt for many years, and it also inculcates a sense of belonging to the enterprise. For us, it is the enterprise of experimental physics. Experimental physics is a collaborative, it's a collaborative thing. You need people. You cannot do it on your own, and therefore network, community, these are things that we cannot really, we have no choice but to build on these. Okay, and of course, when there are many of us who are working together, we can actually create an impact that is, much larger than the sum of the parts. Like Urvashi had this very nice picture yesterday of, instrumentalists, like playing together and creating a symphony. So that's why we need these collaborations. So I know there's not a lot of time, but I picked up something from the Harvard Business Review. And, so this is about, I don't know how many of you were, you remember the poetry that you learned when you were in school. So, there's this poem by Longfellow on Paul Revere, and his Boston Ride, okay, during the American War of Revolution, 75, 76. So you hear a lot about Paul Revere, but there were two people who actually undertook the midnight ride. One was, of course, Paul Revere. The other, even I had forgotten his name, is a William Dawes. Okay. Now they had identical backgrounds. Okay. They were basically trying to alert people to, start these skirmishes. Okay, during this fight for independence. Now, the reason why we hear of Paul Revere, because he was what is called an information broker. He had lots of contacts. So Paul Revere from Boston, he wrote south, okay, and William Dawes, he wrote north. He wrote north. And as the fight for independence really started from the southern parts, right? Because William Dawes didn't know which doors to knock on, okay, which Paul Revere did. So, networking is so important. And, there have also been studies, again, published in places like the Harvard Business Review, that have shown clearly that success and networking are correlated, clearly correlated. And that personal networks can actually give rise to exceptional individual creativity. Okay. And so, because I don't have a lot of time, maybe, like make a community of people, like-minded professionals who can kind of, push each other up their ladders. So there are already these groups on Facebook, for instance. Okay, but now, I see that, they have really descended to crude jokes and individual rants. Okay, so maybe something a little better moderated would be very nice. So I was actually a founder member of an organization called the Global Young Academy. And there they actually have this fantastic portal which does a lot of mentor-mentee, they match mentees with mentors. And the mentees, obviously, they are all early career scientists. And, you can always ask people who are senior to you, who've gone through that same route, okay? And, they can give you the kind of insight that it's difficult to get when you're suddenly in this new situation. So, what do networks bring together? Of course, information, right? The possibility of collaboration. It brings together diverse skill sets. Like Rupamanjari said yesterday, diversity is always a very good thing in an enterprise. You need different kinds of worldviews. You need different kinds of trainings. You need different kinds of ideas to really get something going. And also, if there's a lot of you, you'll also be able to get into policy making, right? Policies that actually favor you. So, you leadership positions, like we also heard yesterday, very important. Okay. How could we do that? Conferences like this one. So let me again thank the organizer. Such a fantastic idea. So very recently, ISER Bhopal organized one called Nari Fi. It's a play on words. So National Assembly of Researchers in India in physics. Okay, so it brought together women from, different parts of the country working on extremely different things. Okay, but it was fantastic. So the idea was these were going to be colloquium style lectures. Students were invited. Students knew that, there are these people, who do good work, okay, and who can present their work properly in a way that I can understand. Okay, and I already told you about mentor-mentee networks. It's a win-win situation for all of us. Okay, and then, we need to keep it going, right? So we need somebody who's going to be willing to nurture this relationship. So that's where the leadership comes in. It's basically a topic that has come in time and again. And I'll not take any more time, but more power to all of us. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. I'm not a scientist, but my job involves talking to a lot of scientists. Yeah. Is my voice audible? Okay. So I can speak a little bit from the science communication perspective, and networking and community building is important in any career, but in science communication, it's especially important because a journalist or a writer's bread and butter really depends on people and communities. Because on the one side, there are the scientists whose work that we're trying to communicate and represent fairly to the public, and on the other side, there's the people whose lives, health, and other things get impacted by the work that the scientists do. So the science communicator really is the bridge between these two different sets of communities, and building trust and relationships with both is equally important. So it's not just about networking with other science communicators and people in the field. It's equally important to build relationships with the people that we talk about or the work that they do. In India, yeah. Oh, sorry. Sure.
Yeah, I think we can hold it closer.
Sure. Is this better?
Yes.
So, in India, science communication itself is very nascent. There are, unlike PhD programs, there aren't many structured routes through which you can actually pursue a career in science communication. But things are changing. There are institutes that are realizing that it's important to communicate the work that's happening, and they are hiring people to write and communicate about the research going on. So there are opportunities. There aren't enough networking opportunities yet, I'd say. But yeah, there are some. Like there's a Science Journalists Association of India that has just been established, that is seeking to bring together people in science journalism across the country. But in general, if you are enthusiastic about science communication, you just need to go out there, talk to people, anybody you meet, a scientist or a student, ask them about what they're doing, why they're doing it, what keeps them going. Because you never know when idea for a story, or even if not now, for later you might get story ideas from anybody, any source. So keep your mind open and eyes open, and go attend conferences like this. Talk to people. A lot of communication. I mean, it's easier to write, but going up to someone and asking them questions is much harder. But yeah, it really is a skill worth building. And in this day and age of COVID and misinformation, it's all the more important for scientists and science communicators to band together to make sure to combat misinformation and make sure that the information that is put out there is accurate, factual, and timely, because the news that is coming out from science institutes does really have an impact on people's lives. So yeah, and more maybe during the question session.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving this opportunity to come here today and talk to all of you, and see you. This is sort of my first, I would say, women networking, or student networking, and especially all looking at all these aspirant scientists here, females. It looks very, very heartening to me, because this couple males, I think, in the room. Other than that, everybody is all females. It's so I just want to give you some brief professional journey of myself. Is that I moved here to India about 6 months ago, and I was previously for 30 years I was in US. So I had gone in 1992 and came back in 2022. So I accepted a position of CTO for Excite Energy, and there was a purpose behind it. So I was working there in US in General Motors, and actually have attended Photonic Conference in Moscone Center, which happens every year. So there were so I started my career in General Motors Research and Development Center. So what we faced is that we had this OLED, in our displays in our car, and there were a lot of fingerprints, and there was this requirement of removing the fingerprints, and we were coming up with some technology which would remove the fingerprints and make it self-cleaning and all of that. So that's where we are all scientists. We deal with electrons and photons. So those are the two things that kind of drive us. And so I moved here, and I'm the CTO for Excite Energy. So what we are developing here is a gigafactory for lithium-ion battery. You might have heard Tesla. Everybody knows Elon Musk, and he came up with the gigafactory in US. And after the US gigafactory, he came up with the Berlin gigafactory. Similarly, Excite has taken this big initiative of starting this gigafactory in India, not too far. It's in Bangalore only, very close to the airport in Devanahalli area. So the plan is to come with 12 gigawatt hour of lithium-ion battery cells. Lithium-ion battery cells would be for all applications from your two-wheelers, from your e-rickshaws, from three-wheelers, three-wheelers, passenger cars, commercial vehicles, and also industrial with your inverters and home powering systems, to your telecom, 5G networks, and everything. So these cells would be used everywhere in across the industry. Exide currently holds a company which is based on lead acid battery, and they have about 70% of the market share. With lithium ion, our aspirations is also to have a 70% market share, at least in India, and also export the cells. So big initiative, and that drove me to come here. I was thinking like, okay, I'm having this vehicle program running in General Motors. I might run another program or another program, and some vehicles would be launched this way or that way. But this is something that I would get to do for India, for coming in lithium ion cells, So I thought this kind of like very much clicked with me, and just want to focus more on power of networking. Is that very first month or something, we were invited to one of this function of inauguration of a factory of a cement company, and I met Shobha there. And I would tell you that this was why I'm here also, and meeting her was all a power of networking. When I saw her there, I reached out to her, she reached out to me, we just clicked, and we just, okay, you are in IIT, and I'm coming from US, and I want to, collaborate with other universities because we don't have a lab right now. So this is all started from where? From just networking. So networking, as my fellow panelists, they have already pointed out really good examples that you should network. You guys are all students, so don't feel shy into reaching out to people who have made it to the industry, who have come, and it is always good to talk. So person like all professionals, they love to talk to students. We love to talk or to all the graduates, and to see what their interest is, where they want to go, and align them to where the career is. So that's the huge power of networking. So keep that going. Don't feel, one of the things that I see is for every problems that you can see that you're having in your life or in your like professional career, you would think that if you kind of follow it, it would come somewhere in the root, deep in the root, it would come to one factor, which is fear. So try to overcome your fear. Don't be hesitant in asking a question. Don't be as hesitant in bringing your viewpoint. It might not be liked by few, but you know what? There will be somebody who would appreciate. So there are many powers that you can start talking. Just try to. I feel like I very diverse group here, and I see that when I left India, it was a very different set of women that I was exposed to. Coming back, I'm seeing they're also empowered. They're also out there. They're also being able to communicate very properly, and go to their business, day in day out. I have, my professionally who takes care of me. She is so up to the date that I just look at her as like, oh my God, I want to take you home also. It's just so good that people, all the women are keeping, they're very good in articulating and talking and taking care. Multitasking is something that we are born with, right? Everybody is taking, all women here are taking care of their home, their kids, their professional life, and their friends and their school friends and whatnot, and groceries. So don't forget that. So it's coming to all of that. I would say that keep networking, keep this power of networking going, keep that thirst in you that okay, I want to meet her. So don't let nothing stop you in going and meeting that person. Just have to send an email, send another email, maybe in 2 or 3 emails the person would reply. Sometimes the person replies right away, depending on what that person's nature is. So that's what I want to just emphasize a little bit on telling you that you guys are in a very good spot, and also want to tell you that in Excite Energy, we are growing our business. So I'm telling you that we have this 12 gigawatt hour of facility coming in an 80 acre of a land, which just had a groundbreaking ceremony, and the Chief Minister of Karnataka came to that. So we are going to be requiring a lot of people and a lot of physicists. If you have any interest in developing lithium-ion batteries, may it be a material level development, may it be thermal modeling or simulations, or may it be structural modelings, or it could be the battery management systems, or putting the cells in a pack and putting a pack together. Anything, we have a lot of opportunities going on right now. So I ask you, if you have an electrical, electronics, or an embedded systems background, or if you have anode and cathode, and you understand materials for anode and electron moving and electrochemical series, and all anytime, please reach out to me. Please reach out to the organizers here and reach out to me, and we are hiring a lot of good talent. So there'll be many opportunities that would come to, and you can see that this opportunity right now is given, like what I'm telling you is as a big, we are going to require about 4,000 people. So this is also coming to you with a networking session. So just think that networking is paramount importance. In this world, it is also a cool and a good thing, right? So just keep networking. Thank you.
Right. Session is open for the questions. So any questions to the panelist?
I mean, like she said, just start communicating. It's okay if people are not responding. Write more. And don't be scared to ask those stupid questions, because I do a lot of these lecture demonstrations in colleges here, and I see that the older the students are, I go straight from school to college, but the older the students are, the less likely they are to ask questions. And I often wonder that why is this happening. So we have these very cool toys in our Raman Research, the museum here. We have these little children who come and who can figure out, oh, this is because the ball is going that way because the center of gravity is over there. But oftentimes, a postgrad, okay, with a degree in physics, doesn't get it. So, I don't know. I think somewhere along the way we just get burnt out. We stop asking questions. So I think that is a spirit that, we shouldn't let die. Ask questions. It's okay if people think you're a fool. Okay. And, try to also understand, who the people are, who can actually prop you up that ladder, and, so yeah, just basically talk to people and don't be shy. That's what I tell my students, if somebody doesn't respond to you the first time you ask for a postdoc, that's fine, update your CV. If you really want that postdoc, okay, update your CV, write again, so write a proposal, write a proposal. You really want to work with somebody, write a proposal with that person. If that person doesn't offer, you offer to write a proposal with him and her. It has worked before. So yeah. Proposal for project, yeah. Absolutely, yes. Please.
When you come in India after like abroad, and how you did your networking then, because you were like away for some years and then you are missing out of some links here, because it's a little bit different.
Okay, so so as far as I'm concerned, okay, what I'm saying is a bit rich, because I do soft matter and I can actually get my program going with a few thousand rupees. So I think I'll let the people who are working on batteries and photon entanglements to talk about that. So I was in the US, yes, but then, like I said, so even if you look at all my papers now, I don't work in very big groups because I don't need to, you know. Ah, okay.
No, that's a really good question. You know what? I am coming here. I did not see any. I attend. So I was in R&D center, and then after that in General Motors I was in product development. So I was going continuously to battery conferences and was very well networked there because people were there. I never saw anybody from India. Like not many people from India there. So I had like when I came here, I was like ground zero. I had no connection to nobody. So when I met Shobha, I went and visited her in IIT Bombay and took one of my team member who I had hired. So it was I'm telling you, I'm starting ground zero, and this is my like second time starting, right? So it is. Yeah, main thing is courage, because the thing is, like I was telling you last week, I was at Indian Institute of Science, right? So I'm finding one connection from someone and going there and trying to say that, hey, this is what the big initiative we are doing. This is what the mess we are in. We cannot do it alone. This is a big thing, right? Like Gigafactory is tons of thing, right? Gigafactory is something that I kind of sensitize my team people and everything. What they're into, because if you see the battery, you have chemicals which are mixed together, then they're coated, then they're calendared that their thickness is brought to the certain level, then they're being assembled, and all of the entire process is not simple, it's very complicated. And you need multiple discipline of people. It's a very interdisciplinary thing. You need physicist, you need chemist, you need electronic person, you need electrical person. So everything has to come together and gel together just to have like the cells we're making. But what if we need to have a low rejection rates, we need to have low scrap rate, our first yield pass has to be higher. There are so many things to worry about, right? So I'm telling you that for me, it's I'm taking this spot as starting all over, just like you. I'm a student, 100% student, just interacting with everyone, going to their lab, their facility, trying to see how we can collaborate with them, seeing how we can utilize their facility, asking them that, because once this gigafactory comes, right, there'll be a huge opportunity which is coming like next year. Next year, a pilot line would come. Huge opportunities for a lot of entire universities which are around here, for their students to come and spend time there, do a co-op with us, or do some for their project, they can come and work in the factory. So both ways we would benefit. The community, the academic community would benefit by giving an industrial experience. Industrial community will benefit with getting good source of good knowledge coming from the academy. So just start. Don't don't think too much. There's in this life, just your thickness, the thinking power on all of these things, like how do I, you need to reduce that and just start somewhere, and you would see that the things fall in place.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I said that there are some industries that aren't very prominent in India. For example, there's not a lot of semiconductor chip manufacturers. So, what's your advice on that? Like, if you want to bring it to India, if you, for example, want to come here and start an industry, do you suggest going abroad and learning it, or like, is there any way to kind of start it here?
So I just visited Indian Institute of Science last week, and I saw them developing a lot of semiconductor research, and also they have this innovation center. What is its name? I'm forgetting the name. Society for Innovation. So when you would go there, you would see that there are many projects, and they support the startup projects. And please connect with me, because I have a connection made there, where they are encouraging this new startup or the innovator. When you have an idea, how to take an idea from your mind and from your little bit of data that you have to a complete full scale startup level. So just connect with me, and I'll try to connect with her. She'll be the right person. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions?
Networking in US and networking in India, is it dealt differently?
See, in US, networking is very good, right? Like you're, at a conference, you just mix people, and you are this in a line. You start. The thing is that in US, everybody says hi to everyone, so it is that makes this, that breaks the ice actually. And then you would say, oh, where are you from, and where are you from, and it just starts. Here, I see that some people are opening up to say hi, but certainly I have seen that when I am going in the elevator saying hi to everyone, some people are like, thinking, what am I doing? Why am I so friendly? What do I want? Right? It's that kind of a thing I see from people's strange faces. So I think, but networking, I'm starting, Shobha, I'm starting myself. So I'm like a student, like, blank sheet here. So I try to, like, when I have to connect, I just don't have this fear factor with me. I'll just say, go hi, and tell what I'm doing, and how I would like to connect, and why I would like to connect, and how we can benefit. Mutual benefits is also, good, that you have to give. Somebody has to bring in something, but it doesn't have to be always. So just say hi, and that would break the ice.
So that's for all three of you. So now you people have reached up to a certain level. So it becomes easy for you to network and approach people. But as a student, when you don't have many things to offer, how to start networking, or how to approach, even like just saying hi, and not just to start praising, right? So how to maximize this networking, or at least interaction?
I mean, so I mean, I am, of course, from the research domain. So I think it's, as a supervisor, I think it is my job to empower my students. So for instance, if I know that somebody, for us, it's all about postdocs, right? Yeah. Huh. I mean, if I know somebody, so if we have a conversation like we did, when during Professor Mahadevan Johnson's fantastic session, I made two very good friends. So maybe, I have my own life experiences. I'm happy to share them. I'm happy to put people in contact where I can, right? And anyway, but I have to tell you about, as a supervisor, I take this job very seriously, of putting my students, in contact with people, who might be looking for, people who are up to a particular task. So yeah, I think, yeah, that is, I think, because, when my students do well, my work also gets disseminated. So, I'm not doing a favor here. We are all really, it's a win-win situation.
I think it really helps to do a little bit of research about the person that you're talking to. I mean, don't expect to go up to someone and say, oh, tell me about what you're working on, just like that. So do a little bit of research about them so that you're able to ask them meaningful questions. And they will also appreciate that you put in the effort to ask them very specific questions that you want clarifications about. Instead of saying, give me some general advice, you can ask specific questions about, this is the kind of problem or challenge that I'm facing. What is your advice on this, or how have you dealt with that kind of situation? So a little bit of background research really helps. And also, before you go up to someone, you really need to be very clear about what your question or your challenge that you really want clarity on. If you're not clear about that, it becomes hard for you to engage with them also, effectively. And you also, I guess we also have to remember that even on the other side, they're also human. They may have more experience, but they have their own insecurities and their own challenges that they're facing as well. So just talk to them like you would talk to anybody, maybe even your relative or friend or your advisor. So just the other thing that also really helps is really show a little bit of curiosity and listen a little bit more carefully when they're speaking, instead of just nodding their head, and just pay attention to them, so that, because you are taking their time, you just want to make sure that you really absorb what they say, and they feel good about giving you the advice that you're asking for. So
I think they covered. I would just say don't overdo it also. Like you're just seeing that person and you're like after then it's too much.
so I have a question. It is not a question. So when it is, many of us present here, maybe we are in Bangalore. Many of the students present here, they are from the premier institutes. Their communicative skills and their exposure are all different from the majority of students that we have in India. So when you approach from the top down, how can we handhold them? Because their communication, that doesn't mean that they are intellectually poor, but they are very bright students. So for them, what is your advice? What is the networking possibilities for them?
So, I can just say it from the research perspective, we get students from all over the country. And, like you said, depending on where they are coming from, there is a difference. So, at least in RRI, and well, everywhere we have coursework, so that everybody starts, so by the time they start doing their research, they are at a more or less level playing field as far as, intellectual, basically, concepts go, right? Now, when it comes to, say, we have to make presentations, we have to communicate our research, we have to write papers. There are lots of, there are different, people are at different levels there. So I think the only way we can improve it is by increasing the level of engagement. And also, one size does not fit all. So therefore, we have to have very clear strategies as to, what is the range of talents that, people are coming with, and how to make the most of it. So yes, so I think, yeah, increasing the level of engagement.
Yeah. No, I think this is you're bringing a very good point, and I see that. I have very, very talented people in my team, but when it comes to explaining or putting their thoughts together, and they're just there is a struggle, right? So I feel that if somebody who is having something like that, any of the students, or I would say that. Uh, Before, because it might, if you're not communicating, taking that person's time, and your thoughts are not coming across in an efficient manner, that person might lose interest in you, right? So you have to strike a right balance between that. So maybe rehearse. So try to make a tape of your own, like with your phone when you're doing a lot of these TikToks and all of that. Maybe just just say hello, just make a script and rehearse it. Let it come, let it flow, let it become, at least so that initially you can grab their attention if you are smooth, in initial conversation. So something, whatever, there'll be many videos also around, on personality development and all of that. So try to see what are the points that you can take, and and just try to see, like, this is personality development is also needed. You're bringing a very good point, because I see your intelligence, your intellect is there, yeah, you have a good intelligence, but a little bit in the personality, some people can get a negative marking in there. So but it's all, it is nothing, nobody's born with, some people, it's all acquired thing. So you just have to, all with this internet system, we are exposed to all the tools. Our tools are in front of us. There are so many people are learning, developing skills, and creating their businesses, and successful in their businesses, all based on, like, watching some YouTube videos, watching some internet things and all of that. So I think it's very doable. Just try to make your tape and see how bad, like how I was, and keep doing it every day. If you do it, you'll improve in that.
So this, the one thing you all know in this room is how to talk science. Yes? Everybody knows how to talk science? Start with talking science. Okay? Remember, when I walked around the very first day, I also told every one of you, you're not allowed to sit with somebody from your own institution. By doing that, you started your network, right? That's what you do every time to go to a meeting, not just here. Everywhere, no matter what, you can talk science, and you start talking science with people you do not know, and you will start your network. It's as simple as that.
I have one last question. Like, all of us have made some network over here with the professor and students around. How to remain connected? Like, this conference will end today. How to remain connected after it? Yeah. Okay. So, I myself is answering this thing. So, Women in Optics and Photonics is the first conference we are having in India right now. Like, it's our first thing. But we are making this Women in Optics and Photonics conference kind of thing in a society, which Professor Jensen will share more about it. We have social media accounts and we'll soon have a website as well. So, from where all of you are a registered member itself, from the registration list, we can get your details. So, all of us can connect and we'll make sure that we can increase the number of participants in Women in Optics and Photonics. Yeah, so we are the pioneers, so pioneer of a society basically. So we need to make sure that every other women in optics and photonics join this group. All right, so we thank our speaker. Like, it's such an interesting and inspiring discussion to explore the importance of networking and building community uh, from speakers from different backgrounds. So I thank the speakers again and thank you so much, ma'am.